you are not just talking about trends. We're dividing into systems, efficiencies, strategies that actually move the needle for real business. Thank you so much for giving me your time, man. Chip, it's truly honor to have you with us today. Your experience is helping organizations streamline their print, promo, marketing operations, bring a level of insight and audience rarely gets access to. Today's conversation is special because you are not just talking about trends. We're dividing into systems, efficiencies, strategies that actually move the needle for real business. Thank you for taking the time to join us today.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate the invitation.
The today's landscape, how do you see print promotion products and digital marketing complementing each other?
I think that, for example, digital marketing can, you'll see someone will have a call to action, which will involve, hey, if you do this task, maybe you register with me, you get this, we'll send you this promotional product.
Wow.
Or promotional product that'll have a QR code on it that will drive somebody into the client's digital domain.
Right.
And then of course you've got just the brand awareness piece of it that comes from promotional products and from digital as well.
Right. Well, in today's world, when you see technology is going, every Gen Z is with the phone and it's connected to the cloud industry. Well, how it was back in your time, and how do you see the comparison?
Well, that's a great question. I think that in some ways it's changed and in some ways it hasn't changed.
Oh,
I think that regardless of the generation, people want to buy from companies, whether it's B2B or B2C. They want to buy from companies who match their
right.
what's important to them.
Right.
So, and that could be different, from a boomer like me to a millennial or Gen Z. But it's important that an organization communicate that their values match up with the customers. Right. And again, I think a mix of digital and physical marketing plays a huge piece in that.
Right.
You can define as a company who you are and why you fit with that particular generation.
Right. And if you go to see, the second question was, which rightly relates to it, which strategies or tool have delivered the strongest result in revenue growth or retention of your clients?
I think as far, where we really focus and the benefit we deliver to our clients isn't really so much on the creative side. I mean, we can help with the creative piece of it, but we turn that creative piece into physical product, whether it's a printed piece, whether it's a brochure. It could be something as inconsequential as a business card.
Right.
That all ties into whatever the company's brand message is and what they want to share with their customers.
Right. Okay.
What we help to do is to turn that concept into a physical product, right, and then also manage the way that the organization consistently communicates through that physical product to their customers.
That's how retention of your clients is connected to the strings. That's how you connect.
I think so, and we also help with the retention of the employee to the company.
Wow, it's beautiful. That's the same strategy that you use for retaining your own employees as well. Amazing.
Absolutely. I mean, it's the same message. It's right. Just a matter of who you're delivering.
Right.
People want to work for organizations whose values match their own. Mm-hmm. And I think that's especially important to the younger generations, to Gen Z.
Right.
It's an important component of who they work for.
What are the practical ways business can streamline their marketing operations without reducing their impact?
I think in a lot of ways, organizations spend an awful lot of money developing content and very good content, very effective content. But a lot of times the disciplines that have been used to manage other pieces of a supply chain aren't really looked at. I'll give you an example. I had an initial meeting with a client.
Okay.
And they had I think about 120 offices throughout the country.
Wow.
And first question I asked them is, how do you handle business cards, which is kind of very, very basic.
Right.
And the process that they had is someone from one of the offices would call in or email in and say, hey, I need a business card.
Right.
The marketing department would then reach out to their business card company and say, hey, we need a business card for Joe Smith.
Right.
They come back to the marketing department with a proof, who would send it out to the office, who would say, okay, or have changed. And there were so many touch points and it was so inefficient.
Right,
that,
right,
if they had gotten their business cards for free, they would have been losing money on the process. And we talked about a way of automating that process. And, it's not something brand new, but we were able to reduce that to a process that took about 30 seconds to a minute, and it was done. And
true.
the marketing department really didn't have to touch anything. That's one very basic example. But you can then take that to all their marketing literature, all their promotional products, their branded apparel, provide a central point of access. So first of all, it discourages those remote offices from going out and finding, their buddy who owns a screen print shop who may or may not do the logo right for more money than they would have paid through a centralized process.
Right.
Uh, and it also helps them to buy their products a lot more cost effectively because we can identify what the popular products are and help drive the cost down on those.
I mean, that's how you try to make the cost also effective for an organization. That's how you try to maintain less, reduce the impact and reduce the cost.
But try to make sure that they can. There are some products that make sense to, we'll make it as they buy it.
Right,
And there's some products that make sense for us to stock for them and
right.
ship to them. And
Like me and my partner were just discussing today, sometime back. I can see the lanyard, our PPAI and ASI lanyard. 5 years we've been visiting it, the same lanyard.
exactly.
So
Exactly. Well, and then the other question is maybe we ought to change that lanyard up a little bit year to year.
ASI had on the education day that ASI. I'm not, and this was sponsored by Imprint,
Imprint ID.
Imprint, yes, and this was sponsored by High Caliber Line.
Both very good companies.
The fourth question: how can promo, print, and branded tools contribute to stronger customer and staff loyalty?
I think that people like to wear branded products if they like the company that they work for or work with,
Mm-hmm.
and if it's of a quality that they want to wear.
Mm-hmm.
That can be a branded product. Like, for example, this is a Nike piece, but
Right.
there are a number of high visibility brands that we can logo and, in our industry can brand for a customer. And there are also some brands that are very high quality that people may not be familiar with, but the quality of the product is outstanding. People like to wear things that they're comfortable in and look good.
Of course.
From a promotional product standpoint, I think people like products that are useful.
Right.
Things like, for example, yesterday was Thanksgiving here, and we had a house full of people, and there were several branded products that were part of, preparing and serving
Wow. Wow.
the food. And because it's not because it necessarily had our brand on it, but because it was really nice stuff and it looked good and it presented the food well. So kitchenware is a big thing, but things that are practical, tech products, especially people who travel a lot, tech products are always popular.
Yes, they do. I do agree with that. Yes, they do. Well, the fifth question: what shift or trend should organization be preparing for heading to down into 2025 and beyond? Like 2026 is just coming around. If you can give one knowledge to the listeners today, would be great.
Well, I think 2025, looking back, was a very interesting year from a business perspective. I mean, everybody was dealing with things like tariffs, early in the
Oh,
year, supply chain challenges.
holy.
Of course, that can always change the drop of a hat. But it seems like those headwinds have settled a bit, and we're able to kind of work within the new normal that we have. I think in 2026, just in reading what experts are predicting,
Mhm.
I think organizations are going to continue to be challenged to spend their budget on
Right.
marketing
Right.
as cost effectively as they can. There may not be quite the budget that there was in 2025, for example, depending on how things proceed. So I think that buying better, buying smarter, buying less or more effectively is
Right.
going to be an important consideration.
Well, thank you so much for giving this insight on the fifth question that we asked you today. I mean, it's such a great knowledge. Today we got to know so many things from you where we were not even aware. Can you share why the marketing supply chain is often overlooked and how centralized control helps organization reduce cost, maintain brand consistency, and operate more efficiently?
I think in a lot of cases, marketing organizations, it's not an area of focus
Right,
always. Sometimes it
right,
is. I think that if the purchasing or procurement department gets involved in it, it becomes more important. But
right,
sometimes they're very siloed. But a lot of the disciplines that can be applied from a supply chain standpoint they can be very effective for marketing organizations in helping them to use their budget more cost effectively, make sure products are where they need to be when they need to be there as cost effectively as they can be there.
Well, I mean, just a great insight with you, Join, today, and such a great insight about supply chain and how it should be done, why retaining an employee, recapping everything what we spoke. Chip, thank you for sharing such powerful and practical insights. Your perspective on the modern marketing ecosystem, especially the role of centralized marketing supply chain, is something every business leader needs to hear. We truly appreciate your time and expertise. We're glad that you had on Vector Art Podcast. Looking forward to collaborate. I'm your host, Rohit. I'm sure our listeners take away tremendous value from this conversation today.
Rohit, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you so much.